Hello and welcome. Janet Beckers here, and it's great to welcome you to this episode of Romance Your Tribe Radio. Today we're going to be talking all about coaching programs, and specifically what's the best length of time for them? How long should they be? So if you are a person who may be a coach, or you may be a consultant, in fact anybody that when you work with your clients, say providing some kind of service or advice, that you know it's going to take more than just one time to get a result for them. You know, it's going to take more than just, giving an hour of your time for you. If they really want to get the outcomes that you know that you can help them to achieve, if you know it's going to take more than just one session, then this episode is for you, because you need to then be going and saying, this is the best length of time for me to get the results for you. So let's have a look at why, first of all, you would even need to have a coaching program. And then we're going to look at what kind of people would be running a program rather than just providing, booking in for an hourly rate. And then we're also then going to look at the different lengths of time that a program could be running for, and what kind of outcomes you can be expecting to achieve in that time, so you know what is the best length of time for you to run your programs. But first of all, why is this topic even coming up? Well, for me, it's for two reasons. Number one is this is something I do every day when I'm working with my coaching clients. When I work with people who are in my Rising Stars coaching program, the people who get to work closely with me, these are things we're discussing all the time. And when I'm working in my training programs, this is one of the things that we really cover in detail. Now, with coaching programs, we're looking at more, of course, than just how long should the program go for, the best length of time. We're looking at things like what should be in the program, who is the program for, and how much you're going to charge. These are really important things to have as well. But today we're going to be looking at this core one because it's one of the ones that you really need to start with. And we'll also look at some of the problems that people come up with, the mistakes that they make when they're deciding how long they're going to run their programs for. Now, the other reason why I wanted to talk to you about this is actually a question that came up when I was talking to somebody who was looking at joining my Rising Stars coaching program, and a question that she asked, which is not an uncommon one at all. It's one that I've been asked over the years, and I'll go into a little bit of detail soon about how my answer to this question has changed over the years. And her question was, the Rising Stars coaching program is a 12-month program, but you know what? I don't want to go for that long. I just want to go for a shorter amount of time. I just want to have a little bit of a commitment. I feel tied in going for that long. And also, if I can go for a shorter program, it's going to cost me a lot less. Can you just offer it to me for a 3-month program or for a 6-month program rather than 12 months? Now, my answer to that has changed over the years. But my answer to that to her now is no, I won't. And when she said, well, why not? And I said, well, because I know that in order for you to get the best results in what we are aiming to achieve together, you're going to need 12 months to do it really, really well. If we do it for any less, I'm going to be letting you down. So that's why I can only go for 12 months, because I know from experience that's how we get the results. And I know from experience when I have offered it for 3 and 6 months that for a program that we want to achieve these bigger outcomes, it's not going to happen. And so it's in poor integrity for me to say to you, yes, I will. Now, there are certain things that I could be saying yes to for 3 months or 6 months, and we'll talk about those in a minute. And so these could be the kind of things that you may decide is a yes for you for 3 or 6 months. But in a program where we're really totally going to build up your brand online, we're going to work out your packages, we're going to launch, we're going to be bringing in new clients, really position you with a system that you can rinse and repeat. To do that well, it's going to take us more than 3 or 6 months. You know, I would be setting you up to fail otherwise. So that was my answer to her. So, and that's why my Rising Stars coaching program is a 12-month program. And that's why we have people in there who come back, because they're going to get their next goal and they know that they want the support to get there. So they may come for a second year or a third year. So that's one of the reasons why I'm having this discussion with you today, because I know that you're going to get those questions as well. And we'll talk in a moment about the answers I used to give, why I gave them, and why I don't. So who is this going to be good for? So first of all, let's look at why would you package anyway? If you're a person who provides a service or some kind of coaching, a really common thing to do is to say, this is my hourly rate. And you can say to people, you might think that you're bundling and creating packages by saying, well, you can have my 6-session package for a bit of a discount, or you can have my 12-session package for a bit of a discount. And so you could be thinking, yeah, I offer packages, they're in terms of number of hours. The problem here is if you are offering an hourly rate, people stop focusing on the outcome, the solutions that you can get for them, and they start focusing on what do they get per hour. And they start focusing on bringing in value judgments on how worthy you are based on how much you're charging. So for the exact same amount that you might be charging per hour, you will have one person that will go, dreaming. What do they think they're charging that for? Who do they think they are? That is way too expensive. Way too expensive. And so they make that judgment there that whatever comes from their background, that's too expensive. You're being greedy, perhaps. Now, another person will see you at exactly the same amount that you're charging, and they may go, it's not very much. Maybe they're a bit of an amateur. I would really expect, somebody that's going to get me the results that I want would be charging more than that. I charge more than that, whatever it is. So exactly the same rate, different people are going to have a different response. So you don't want to be having your worth being judged by what other people have as their baggage around what an hourly rate is. So take that out of the picture. So if you are charging an hourly rate, if you're making your packages just simply including a number of hours, we need to talk, baby, because we can make it so that the hourly rate is insignificant. So this is the packages is really, really important for you for these reasons. Now, who could be using these packages? You know what? If you're doing any kind of coaching, consulting, service provision, where you're going to get those results. I've worked with people who might be like a business coach or a life coach, a relationship coach. It could be somebody who is, say, a hypnotherapist, a occupational therapist, speech therapist. You could be somebody who's a golf instructor, somebody who is working with people for losing weight, to get fit, learn some kind of music, any of those kinds of things. You can see it just covers so many different niches. This is all applicable to you. So now let's have a look at, we've talked about the mistake, and the big mistake is going to be that you're just bundling your hours. So now let's look at how long you can be running your programs for, and how do you make that decision. And then I'll talk about the experience that I've had and the different answers that I gave over time to that exact same question of, can I do this for a shorter period of time? So the big thing that you have to think about is when you are creating your packages, and I'm saying packages here, so there's an S at the end, you may very well just have one coaching package, and that's what you do. And that's okay. I just have my Rising Stars coaching program, and that's where I focus at the moment. But you might decide that you're going to have a few different packages, and that is also really good. That's what a lot of my clients do. They will have different packages. The important thing here is you have to think of what are the outcomes that I can be achieving for my clients in specific time frames. So if you're going to be thinking, if we go back to the golf instructor as an example, you might be able to help them to be able to learn to putt. And you might be able to do that over, say, a 6-week session. But if you then want to be able to, say, get their handicap down to a great number, then it might take a 6-month period of them working with you to achieve that goal. So be thinking about it. Could be something very specific, or it could be something that is bigger and broader, whatever their goal is. So number one, think about what are the outcomes that you can achieve for people. Then I want you to think about, okay, for me to achieve that with somebody, either a very specific outcome or something that is broader, what is the best amount of time for me to get those results? Now, when you're deciding this, I don't want you to go and think about, well, I worked with this particular client and they got results like in 3 months. And they just rocked it. They did absolutely everything I told them to do, and they were really, really focused. So I know it can get done in 3 months. Don't choose that as your benchmark, because there's always going to be those wonderful high achievers, but they're rare. Okay. Now the other side of it is you will get people who really struggle, and it could be for external factors in that they have a lot of other commitments on their time, and it can also be for internal factors that they're doubting themselves, they're self-sabotaging. These are really common things that are going to come up with any kind of coaching situation and any kind of service provision situation. So you don't want to be saying, well, I've had one person that can get everything done in 3 months, and another person, I had to work with them for 18 months, 2 years before we finally got the results. But they got the results, but it was hard work. You don't want to be going from your extremes. You want to go to the middle. And in fact, you want to go to the middle and then just err on the slower side, because you want to be able to surprise people with them getting results faster. You don't want to frustrate them by going, well, you know what? Somebody else got this done in that amount of time. Why couldn't you? So that's how you decide. So number one, you always make your decision on what is best for the client. And then you make your decision on the length of time based on your experience with, the high achievers, the people who are struggling, in the middle, and go slightly to err on the side of caution. Now let's have a look here at what does it mean to be best for the client. One of the things that I find when I say to people, we have to decide, always come back and make all of your decision is what is best for the client. Being best for the client does not mean being the cheapest. It does not mean being able to find the way that you can to be able to, give them as much as you possibly can. Because on one side, being the cheapest doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to get the best results. They may not value what they're doing, or also, in order for you to be able to do it at a cheaper level, may mean that you can't give the service that you want to. The other side of doing the best for the client does not mean bombarding them with heaps and heaps and heaps of stuff, because you can overwhelm. There's a fine line between over-deliver and overwhelm. So when it comes best for the client is what is going to get them the best results. And if that means that it's going to have to be a longer program or a more expensive program, so be it. That's what you've got to do. So now let's look back to the kind of answers that I have given in the past to the question of, can we make this program shorter, and can we make it cheaper? So let's have a look at that. Now, in the past, when I first started doing any kind of coaching and mentoring, it totally took me out of the blue. I'd only been running Wonderful Web Women for 8 weeks when I had people contacting me saying, can I please pay you to coach me? And I went, sure. And then I went, what's coaching? I don't even know what coaching is, and how much do you charge, and how do you do it? So I had to kind of work out how I was going to do that. So to start with, I did what many people will do, and I did the hourly rate. And it's really not a good way to do it, because it means that you're continually trying to make the sale of the next session. It really means that you're not focusing on what's best for the client. every time, because you are also thinking, you know what, they really need another session. Now I've got to convince them that they need the other session because I know that they need it to get the result. But you're making that sale. So then I started changing it and making it that it was going for 6 months. But really what I was only offering was my time. We had X number of coaching sessions. So they were still coming down to what the hourly rate was, which was actually a pretty nice hourly rate, come to think of it. But, I was really limited to how many people I could work with. So my answer then was, yep, we can go for 6 months. But still not doing it in a sophisticated way that gave me some sort of leverage. Now, when I decided that I was going to run a group coaching program, so it would have components of one-on-one, components of group, and components of training material, the first lot that I did was I did it for 6 months, and that was mainly because I wanted to see if I liked it. Now, what I found after the 6 months is some people got results because they were very, very definite on this is what I wanted to achieve. Other people who really needed some help to be able to get clarity on what it was that they wanted to achieve, and that's okay. That's a big part of, okay, I've got choices about where I'm going to focus. Help me decide where I'm going to get the best bang for my buck. For them, the 6 months wasn't long enough because there was a time taken in that decision process. And so that's where I found that the 6 months can work for some people. But you had to be very, very specific on this is the outcome that you can get. So if I knew that I was going to be working on a specific thing and we were very, very narrowed on what it was going to do, then I could say yes, 6 months. If we really had to work out, make an analysis of their business and make some decisions, I knew that if I got them to 6 months, they would have got to a really good level, and then the program would finish. And just when they probably needed me to support them through a launch, and yet they had mentally decided that 6 months was when everything finished. And so for them, it was very difficult to decide to invest in another 6 months. So that's what I used to do then. After a while, I had been running it for 12 months. But of course, as you can imagine, you lose sales. If you know that 12 months is the best period of time to be working with your clients, and you say, look, that's all it's going to be, you're going to lose some clients because they go, it's too much money, it's too long. And so I thought, you know what? I've had so many people asking me, can I do a 3-month program? That I thought, you know what? I'm just going to go out to my list and say, I've listened to you. I'm registering people for 3 months. And then after 3 months, we can decide if you go ahead. And of course, my conversion rate really increased. It was great. I thought, nailed it. Why didn't I do this ages ago? This is the way to do it. And so that's what I did. I opened up my program for people to come in for a 3-month period. But this is what I found. At that 3-month period, what people tended to do is they only had 3 months, say 12 weeks to get something done, that they tended to really burn themselves out. Like they would just go flat out to try to get as much as they could get done in 3 months. It got to the end of the 3 months and they were just exhausted, not because I was driving them, because they were just thinking, I've only got 3 months, and that's what I've committed myself to, and that's what I've decided, that I'm going to achieve all this in 3 months. And so that was one part where I thought, you know what, I need people to be able to give themselves the time to do the job well and not burn themselves out. The other thing that was happening is, it got to the 3 months, and for the people who really needed that help to be able to analyze their business and make those decisions on the best results and then start taking action, they had just really got their plan, got their business plan, worked out their profitable avatar, knew what they were going to offer, but then they thought, oh, it's all finished now. For them, the next stage of actually putting it all together was going to be another part of the program. So even though a lot of those people then went on for another 3 months, another 6 months, so they still may have ended up being in the program for the same amount of time, their joy in their business, their stress levels were actually higher. And so I was thinking, you know what, this is not the best for them. So even though the 3 month gave me a higher conversion, I didn't feel that it was getting the best result for the clients. And so now it's 12 months. Now, when would a 3 month work for you? A 3 month will work for you if you've got somebody where you're going, you know what, this is what I can achieve in a 3-month period. And it might be that, for our golf coaching client, for example, it might be, right, we can work out how to show you how to increase your putt in that time. But for your golf coaching client that may be going, you know what, I really, really want to get the most awesome handicap ever. Well, you know that you're going to have to work with them for maybe 6, 12 months, even longer, to get those results. So think about what can you achieve in that time and know that you can do it well, and that's what you can be promising. If you know that the people you work with, that you get the most joy out of, and that you know that you're going to get the best results for your clients is longer, then make it longer. That's how you make your decision. I have one of my colleagues who helps people with building their business and really with their mindset. His program's 2 years. You have to enroll for 2 years, and he fills it all the time because he can show the case studies at the end of the 2 years of what you can achieve. So I hope that gives you some insights into how do you decide what is the best length of time for you to do your coaching programs for, or it could be for your service bundling programs. And how do you make that decision? And if we go back to how you make that decision, is number one, you have to look at what are the outcomes that you can be getting for your clients and what are the outcomes they want. Then when you look at your specific outcomes, that may be a few different ones, well, what is it that I need to be doing with that client in order to get that outcome? Once you look at that, then you can look at clients you've worked with before or just from your own knowledge and go, you know what, a super client will get this done in this time. Somebody who's really struggling with external time constraints or with internal sabotage will take longer. So let's meet it in the middle and then be conservative. And always, always come back to what is best for the client. So that you know that when you say to somebody, you know what, I know that you would love to be able to do my program where we're going to be achieving this, you would like to just commit to 3 or 6 months, but I know that you're not going to get the results unless we do 12. You can say it with absolute confidence and they will know that you're looking after them. So I hope that helps you. I would love to hear your experiences when it comes to either programs that you have been part of that you may have asked for a shorter time period, and how did that work for you? And it may have been a good thing for you, or it may be something that you may have felt that for what you wanted to achieve that it wasn't going to happen, or your own programs that you may be also offering yourself. What's worked for you? Have you experimented with the length of time that people are committing to be working with you when it comes to your programs? I'd love to hear from you. So please leave your comments. If you're listening here on the podcast, come over to romanceyourtribe.com where you can see the blog post that we've got that goes with this. There's an article there to help you and a place for you to leave comments and questions. I'd love you to be able to do that. And if you have a friend that you know will really benefit from being able to make these decisions, please pass this on to them. And look forward to hearing from you. Bye.